purpose of this training is to show you how to use opportunities and commands for tracking ratios. This is not to show you how to use opportunities and command for compliance, but instead for ratios. There will be a separate video to show you how to track, how to use opportunities for compliance. So to track your ratios and command, basically it's kind of keeping track of your sales pipeline, getting your leads into opportunities and following them through cultivate to close. And what opportunities does, it provides you with a vehicle to keep track of the activities that you need to do to keep them engaged every step of the way. So the first thing you need to do to have a lead or a contact track through opportunities in the sales pipeline, you need to make sure that if they are not already in your contact database, they need to be a client in your contact database. At the very least, you need to have a email address and phone number attached to that contact. Once you know the contact is in the contact database, you can go to opportunities. Here's your opportunities dashboard. Let's say that opportunity or the lead was a listing lead, and so you want to track them in your listing pipeline. On the dashboard, you have your listing opportunities, your buying opportunities, and if you do leasing, you have your leasing opportunities. Basically, all three pretty much act the same. So I'm just going to go through listings, and then I think you should be able to get the idea of how you need to make the other ones work for you. So in all of the three, there are 5 phases. There's cultivate, obviously when you're nurturing them, getting to know them before you actually get them to have an appointment with you. Then there's the appointment phase. Once you get them past the appointment phase, hopefully you've turned them to an active opportunity. That means you actively have a listing, you're actively showing them properties, whether it be for buy or for rent. Under contract is the 4th phase. That means that you've got their listing under contract, you've got them as a buyer under contract, or you've got an accepted rental agreement if it's for a lease. And then finally, once you get past there, you close them. They've sold their home, they've bought a home, they've rented a property. These are the 5 phases. These cannot change. They're the same in listings, buying, and leasing. So these will never change. You have no flexibility with these 5 phases. Now, where you do have flexibility and you can have opportunities set up to reflect how you want to run your business is in what's called stages. Each of the 5 opportunities can have as few or as many stages as you like, and you set those up. So let's go to the cultivate phase. In cultivate, I have set up my business to be watch, nurture, or hot lead. How I created these is once I came into the cultivate phase, I go up here to edit stages, and I have created these 3 stages. You might choose to have your stages be on watches. You might want to add a stage, and if they are 1 to 120 days out, then, and I'll just put these in, or you might want to work with the 1 to 30 days out or whatever in between. Here's the key, that whenever you create a stage, also when you create that stage, you want to create a probability. At that point, what's the percentage that you will convert them? If they're 121 to 120 days out, or I probably should have did, yeah, or is it 5% chance you'll convert them? Is it a 10% chance you'll convert them? What is the chance that you'll convert them? I'll show you why that probability is important soon. But basically, you want to name the stage and the probability that you will convert the stage. It's just an easy edit and save. And then what order do you want them to be in? Would you want 0 to 30 days to be out first, and then 1 to 120 days to be next, or anything in between? For how I have my opportunity system set up, and I'm going to get rid of these because I am not using them. I have watch, nurture, hot lead. Watch means a 5% conversion chance, nurture 7%, hot lead 10%. And in this order. So that's how I have mine set up under cultivate. Under every phase, there are stages that you will create. So once I get them to where I can have an appointment, I go under appointment, and you will see the stages that I have set up under the appointment phase: scheduling, scheduled, and kept. Again, I can edit the stages. I can add any new stages that I want to add. I can add the probability. I can even add what position I want them to be in. If I want this to be first now, so new test, and let's say it's a 9%, and I want it to be first now, then I could put that in, save it. So now it's first, 9% probability. The other way to move them around is if I wanted it to be last or fourth, I could just move it. It'll automatically renumber. There it is. The probability won't change though. I'd have to change that, by going in and editing, clicking the pencil and changing the probability. And then again, if I didn't want it, I could delete it. And I'll just show you quick every phase that you can go into. You can set up stages. They'll show up here. Once you create them, they'll be in these little boxes so you can fill them up with opportunities. But you edit and you will see the percentage, the different stages, and so forth and so forth. There's one for every phase. Their contacts, you can have as few or as many. There will probably be some default ones there when you first go into command. You can edit those that are there, erase them and start over, use what's there. And then some phases might not have any stages. You can add them. But basically, it's completely customizable to however you want to run your business. And then in closed, I've only have two, closed and legacy. Legacy stage, you'll find that under active and closed. That is a system generated stage. I do not believe you can do anything to get rid of that. It was primarily there for in the beginning when we were importing things from .loop. They would all go into legacy, and then you would move them accordingly. Right now, I just don't mess with that. Now, so I've shown you the 5 phases. Under each phase, you can create as many or as few stages as you want to, depending on how you run your business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back out to the main dashboard, and I'm going to create an opportunity for listings. for a listing. So I click create opportunity. It brings up this create opportunity prompt. It puts in the market center, the type of opportunity. If it was buying or leasing, you could change it accordingly. The default is listing. If you are on a team, your team name should show up here. And if you, usually your rainmaker will be the owner of it. But I believe it depends on how team functionality is set up, whether or not you can actually change the owner of it. I think the default is rainmaker. I'm not sure if you can change that under team functionality or not. But then you want to put the client name. So the client you are nurturing. So for sake of demonstration, I have a client in my database called Opportunity Seller. So I'm going to add him as the client. If he had a co-seller, I would put that seller's name here. Because it is a listing opportunity, it has a property address attached to it. So I would probably just put in that property address. And I would probably leave the client's name there just to help out. Get rid of that. Now that's how I'm naming it, but you can name it however you want to. It just needs to be something that's relatable to you, that you will understand when you go back and look at your pipeline. Obviously, we haven't listed it. I don't have a listing price, but let's say I know that it's probably going to list around $250. A typical commission on that is going to be 3%. I'm creating it in in a cultivate phase, because this lead just came across to me, but I'm nurturing this lead. It's not in a watch. It's not a hot lead, but maybe I'm just nurturing them right now. So I'm going to go ahead and create that. When it brings you here, really at this point, you have no documents. Because it's a listing lead and you do have a set property address, whereas if a buyer's lead, you would not have one at this point. I usually go ahead, click the pencil, and edit in the property box the property address, and just go ahead and pull that in and save it. So now I've created the opportunity. I'm going to go back to my sales pipeline, brings me back to the dashboard. I'll see that opportunity came into my cultivate nurture. What you'll see in each box is a little checklist. Again, this is something you have to create. You can either create them once you, actually, I would recommend that if you're going to have checklists, you create them here still in the edit stages. You'll see the checklist. Click on the checklist. And so here for Cultivate Watch, get the phone number of the lead, get the email of the lead, get the address of the lead. In this case, I already have it. If there were other tasks and things I do when I'm cultivating, and these are actually tasks / to-dos, I would add those items to the list. And you can, add as many as you want, put them in whatever order. Basically, to add, you just click there, add the item, save it, and you're good. Now, we'll show you. You'll notice then there's a box that says Update Client. Update Client, usually at the Cultivate and appointment level, I usually don't click that. Where this becomes important is later on when you're an active listing or you're actively working with the buyer, or particularly when you're under contract. If you have this box checked, for any activity, that means that whenever you check that you have done that task, your client that's attached to this opportunity automatically gets an email to let them know you have done this for them. So, for example, if you're working with a buyer opportunity and one of your steps in under contract, one of your things on your checklist for under contract is order the termite inspection, then when I check the order termite inspection box because it's done, if I have the client update box set, my client will get an email saying that I have ordered a home inspection for them for their purchase of property on 123 Main Street or whatever the property address is. It's a way for you to let the client know that you are doing things for them that they may not even realize that you're doing for them. But so once you create the checklist, you save it again. And so now, whenever you go to your Cultivate, watch, nurture checklist, it will show, let's see, where did I add that? Oh, I added that under watch. So if I had it under watch, that would show up as a to-do. We're under nurture. So now they're just these two. So obviously I have all that information already for watch. So I start them at nurture. So follow-up call, put on neighborhood nurture smart plan, or what my task, or whatever you do to cultivate a listing lead or a buyer lead or a renting lead. That's what you put in this checklist. Every stage has a percentage, so you can see when you're at that stage, what's the probability that you will convert? What's the probability that you will earn that commission for whatever that estimated price is? That shows up here. So that's important to use this as a true ratio tracking system and help you see where you might have business that you're not actively pursuing. Always look at your GCI here for all the opportunities that I have listed in the various points. If those all close, potentially, this is the income I could earn. But based on where they are in the sales pipeline, what phase they're in and what stage they are, this is the potential that I'd earn that income. So imagine how motivating this is. If you've got, $16,000 or $18,000 of potential income or potential GCI sitting in Cultivate, and so far you've only nurtured it enough to maybe earn $2,000 of that, it might make you work a little harder to get them up to appointment or active. And so it's a good place to look to help you kind of see the status quo, where your opportunities are that you could get business. In theory, if you've added them here as a Cultivate, they've already kind of raised their hand. I'm interested in buying. I'm interested in selling. So why wouldn't you focus some of your efforts or much of your efforts on converting those leads that have already raised their hand? So let's say I've got this nurture for opportunity seller to an appointment. And so now I'm moving him from the Cultivate stage to the appointment stage. So here he is. So now I'm working on scheduling him. We're talking about scheduling. What's my to-do list right around scheduling? So first, I probably need to go and update my database to show what was the shift that I've moved him from one phase to another. Any details I need to add to the opportunity link, I should do that. I might at this point want to create a listing folder, any information that's going to help me get that listing. I may want to go ahead and create a listing presentation. And then I might want to start finding comps. And what not only are these tasks here in my opportunities. But if you notice here, I can set dates on this. So if I'm in the scheduling phase, and today's the 28th, I might want to schedule, I might want to update the database today. I might want to update the opportunity today. And then tomorrow, or maybe I know I've got a busy day tomorrow, I'm all full to the end of the month with closing. So maybe on the 1st, I want to go ahead and create that listing folder and work on a listing presentation. So by setting these dates here, what I'm doing is I'm making tasks that are going to show up in command on my to-do list. So when I come to my dashboard every morning on the 28th, well, today's the 28th, I probably should have did the 29th, but on the 29th, tomorrow, if I go, these are going to show up as past due. On October 1st, these are going to show up as to do on the 1st, and this is going to show up as to do on the 2nd. So now, not only do I have tasks or defined lists of things to do when I am working opportunity through my sales pipeline, but I have a way to send myself reminders that these things are due. So that's there. So let's say we go ahead and we, get them to the appointment or scheduled stage. So we're scheduled them. And then these are the things I do, once they're scheduled. I schedule a pre-listing call. I do a confirmation. I confirm the appointment. I deliver the pre-listing appointment in advance. Again, all these are things you can set dates on to remind you to do, and whatever dates you set up for them, they will show up as to-dos on your task list and your dashboard to do them those days. And remember, to create these, I'm just going to my edit stages, and I'm coming and making sure I have them added here. And because I'm adding them here, every time I get a contact at that stage, they'll automatically pull in all the checklists. Now, do note that if you go back here and I see the checklist and I click on it and I say, oh, let me add this step. I want to add, this, I don't know, XYZ, whatever it is. You can do that. But if you add it here at this level, it's only going to be available here for this opportunity. If you want it to be global for every opportunity you create going forward, then you do have to go back and create it here at this edit stage phase. And so I'll just go through. So you got the appointment, you got the listing, you've got an active phase. You go there, intent to list. You can make your checklist, pre-listing postcard, photographs, coming soon advertisement. Again, all with a due date attached to them, so you're reminded. When you go to publish the listing, you can have a checklist there. So once it goes live in that MLS, just listed postcards, social media, schedule photos. I probably need to not have that there. I would have done that already, so I need to update my list. Let's see. But if I need to change my list, it's very easy. Got it published. Click on there, schedule photos. I want to delete that because at that point, I've already scheduled appointments. It's too late now that we're active listing. So I'll change that. Go back. And then here, okay, so when you get them to publishing, and so my update didn't show. Well, yeah, I don't know Well, it might take a minute, but anyway, I can delete it there as well. And then get them to opportunities. So I'm hoping you can see how you can move it through. And notice, now they're under contract. Notice, and you may have noticed all the way through, the percentages have go up in each stage of the phases. Opportunities, it's a little higher percent converting. Once they're active, they're a little higher percent converting. Then, of course, when they're under contract, they're a higher percent of conversion. And all along, these numbers are going up. So now, before, I only had a little over $2,000 of potential income, but because this opportunity is now under contract, it's increased by about $6,000 because it's a 90% chance that it's going to close. And all the way through, I can, if I have checklist and those opportunities, I can go through as I move it, see the checklist, put to-do dates on it based on maybe when I know that the home inspection is scheduled to happen. Move all the way through. And then lastly, when I move it to closing, to me, this is probably one of the more important checklists because it's the things that I need to do to follow up with them to keep building that relationship after they close. I'm going to add them to, you can't see it all there, to the seller, add client to seller follow-up smart plan. I'm going to add them to a client monthly neighborhood smart plan. Maybe if it was a buyer, I'd be adding them to the home anniversary smart plan. These are all the things I need to do. So basically all the way through, I can have items in my checklist that I need to follow up. And obviously if they've closed, they come to 100%, and that is reflected in my probable income now because I've actually closed them. But I hope you can see how if you start with a lead in either the cultivate or appointment stage, how if you work them through, not only does it help you keep an eye on your ratios to motivate you to get that potential income up closer to your probable income up close to your potential income, but also how you can use the task or the checklist at the different levels to put dates in there and keep you on focus once you are actively engaged with them as things you need to do, whether it be scheduling the photography, doing the coming soon, making announcements. And if you want them to be in the loop for them to see as a seller or buyer that you are in fact working for them behind the scene, then checking the client update box will cause them to get a notification via email that you have done this task for them once you've marked it as complete. So I hope that you've benefited from this. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to answer them for you. Everything we did in the listing, the checklist, the stages, they can also all be done at the buyer level and the leasing level. So it's just a great tool, not just for compliance, but for helping you track your sales pipeline, manage your tasks and to-dos around your opportunities, and just remind you to touch those who've already raised their hand that have gotten in your pipeline somehow to get that potential income all the way to, or that probable income all the way to potential income.